ocean, and given the level of resources that humans derive from it, a full scientific knowledge of the ocean is necessary. A relatively unknown field in naval science and technology, hydrography offers seafarers, mariners, and maritime players needed information to navigate the waters. Are there enough hydrographers in the country? What relevant skills are required in this all-important profession? This is our focus today on Panorama, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center. I am Adeola Komiakiri. Sincere apologies for the mix-up we're currently experiencing. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government will look into the National Health Insurance Scheme to complement budgetary allocations to the health sector. The Vice President said this at a meeting with Nigerian-born Dr. Michael Ugweke, the Chief Executive Officer of Methodist Hospitals, Tennessee, USA. State House Correspondent Jide Onifade reports. House Correspondent Jide.
As Vice President Yemi Osinbajo noted, practically all of the funding for healthcare system is from the budget. And for a country of 200 million people, it would be extremely difficult to expect to resource the nation's healthcare system purely from the budget, stressing that the National Health Insurance will be one way of giving a more substantial pool of resources which can be used not only to improve infrastructure, but also improve earnings for personnel.
We have a group of
Dr. Michael Ugweke says he is in the country partly to explore areas of partnership between the federal government and the Methodist Hospital, especially in complementing efforts of the administration in transforming the healthcare system. He commends the federal government's efforts in tackling COVID-19, describing its intervention in containing the pandemic as incredibly successful.
No question that he's very committed to improving the healthcare system in the country, and even the Minister of Health was there as well, and they both pledged support in ways that they can for us to come and continue this dialogue. So I'm really excited about the opportunity.
The Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative is seeking, also supporting government in seeking ways, means of bringing in expertise, investors, and knowledge and capacity from anywhere we can find them to support the government's effort, especially in reviving our healthcare system.
Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Hanure, was also in attendance at the meeting. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
Now, the House of Representatives Finance and Banking Joint Committee investigating over $30 billion annual revenue leakages has again stressed its determination to block the loopholes and address foreign exchange infractions. The Joint Committee stated this while listening to presentations by banks allegedly involved in the leakages. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
Among the issues raised by the committee were concealment and non-disclosure of crude oil lifting due for taxation, multiple allocations to holders of foreign inflow certificate of capital importation, and disappearance of naira proceeds of foreign inflows from accounts of Nigerian beneficiaries, among others. The committee filed to extensively review all identified infractions.
Export proceeds for both oil and other commodities repatriation by exporters meant to reflate the economy, which were diverted by selling directly to other customers without corresponding taxes paid. The committee will be starting with all the banks that hold the accounts of all the foreign companies. These measures shall in foreseeable future lead to plugging all revenue loopholes towards saving the country from recurring upsurges in foreign exchange rates.
Representatives of the invited banks say large number of transactions mentioned did not attract withholding tax, and where applicable, evidence of tax receipts are available
Withholding tax for purposes of this amount that has been alleged here applies only to dividend remittances and interest on loan repayment as guided by Foreign Exchange Miscellaneous Act and the FX Manual.
The committee has adjourned till next week for continuation of the investigation. From the National Assembly, Dayo Gunshola, NTA News.
Nigeria is making reference to its numerous anti-piracy interventions and maritime security framework as reasons why the international community should consider a waiver or possible removal of war risk insurance premium on the country-bound cargoes. At a press briefing in Lagos, the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Bashir Jamo, said this payment is having adverse effects on prices of commodities.
Notorious to be the safe haven for crimes and criminality in the world, the Gulf of Guinea attracts more war risk insurance, and ship owners requesting to sail in the region will have to obtain approval from their insurers. This trend is what the federal government said must change, putting into consideration the gradual reduction in piracy and attacks on sea, which are the resultants of the huge infrastructure and legislation committed to ending the menace.
They said they appreciated our commitment. They appreciated the progress made so far. So go back to the benchmarking and see which item and which item you can tick. Tick it, we agree, then reduce the insurance premium so that Nigerians cannot continue to suffer to pay something that they are not due for.
According to Oceans Beyond Piracy reports, Nigerian-bound ships transiting the Gulf of Guinea incurred $55.5 million in 2020 alone as additional war risk area premium, and 35% of ships transiting the area also carried additional kidnap and ransom insurance, totaling $100.7 million.
If today they remove this war risk insurance, each and every Nigerian will be a beneficiary, and at the end of the day, shipping trade will continue to boom in Nigeria. Those international communities that they want to invest in shipping trade and they are afraid because of this stigma, they will now ease off their attention and they will now continue to come and invest.
The alliance signed with the International Coordinating Center on how to enhance the implementation of the Yaoundé architecture is similar to the approach adopted to resolve criminality on the Indian Ocean. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NTA News.
In view of the importance of hydrographic survey to maritime safety and by extension international trade, coastal nations and agencies with charting resources must work together for the sake of standard and more mapped channel. This is one of the major talking points as Nigerian Navy joined the world to mark 2021 World Hydrography Day. Adeniyi Taiwo completes the report.
In the uncharted water of 1912, the ship, the Titanic, did not have the benefit of technology, but only had lookouts to check ahead for danger. We all know how that ended. This is year 2021, and it's been 100 years of hydrographic survey and all its silent but indispensable impact on life and living. Hydrographic information refers to scientific study of the physical features of water needed to ensure safe navigation of the ocean. After about 45 years of becoming a member state of the International Hydrographic Organization, the Nigerian Navy stepped up its capacity to conduct the surveys and production of charts by acquiring its first hydrographic ship, NNS Lano. The celebration, which began with an opening ceremony in IHO office in Monaco, France, to the Nigerian Navy Hydrographic Office, Lagos, the consensus is that more cooperation among coastal charting nations and agencies with hydrographic functions is needed.
There's still a lot of work to be done to expand coverage and to maintain quality of hydrographic data.
Effective hydrographic practice will ensure adequate chart coverage of about 84,000 square nautical miles of Nigeria's territorial waters, and ultimately provide up-to-date nautical products to drive Nigeria's blue economy project.
Nigeria became the 52nd member state of the IHO in 1976 in Lagos. Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
And joining us in the studio to discuss more on the hydrographic survey potential of Nigeria is Rear Admiral Chukwuemeka Okafor, hydrographer of the Navy. Thank you for joining us on Panorama today.
You're welcome.
Now, from that background report, we got a glimpse of what hydrography is all about. But can you paint the picture better for us, especially in the light of all the excitement and investment towards promoting hydrographic survey practice in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. I would like to start from the background.
Okay.
70% of the ocean, 70% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and over 80% of international maritime trade by volume is conducted through this same water. Ships are the platform that are used to convey the goods and services through this medium, and as such, ships cannot put to sea if they don't have assurance of safety. Hydrography provides those safety information that enable them to sail from one point to the other and convey goods and services to nations. And as such, in order to make common man on the street to understand that there are a group of professionals working behind the scene to ensure that goods and services get to them for better quality of life. Professionals gather together to set up a World Hydrography Day, a day that the work of hydrographer will be celebrated.
Now, are there a legal framework for the practice of hydrography in Nigeria?
Yes. Nigerian, by the Act, Armed Forces Act, yes. Cap 820, Law of the Federation of Nigeria, charged the Nigerian Navy with the responsibility of charting Nigerian waters and also coordinating all national hydrographic surveys that are conducted by other agencies.
Okay.
I just mentioned NIMASA, I mentioned NTA, and I mentioned other agencies. These government agencies in the Establishment Act also have hydrographic functions mentioned there, okay. but limited to their place of responsibility.
Okay, now Nigeria still has a lot of uncharted waters within its territory. Is there a definite plan to increase coverage given the importance of navigable and mapped waters to the economy?
Yes, you are right that Nigeria waters are not fully charted yet, fully surveyed and fully charted yet. There are plans. Currently, the Navy has developed what is called the National Charting Scheme that has planned how every part of navigable Nigerian waters can be charted. What is left now is to fund that plan for data acquisition, which will be used eventually to produce the chart.
Okay.
Plans are already concluded for that.
Okay, for the benefit of those who really will not understand what you're talking about, can you expatiate more what charted waters means?
Water is a medium that is very dynamic. It's not like land. On the ground, you will know where you are going before you step on it.
Yes.
But in the water, you are only seeing the surface of the water. You don't know what is underneath. And so, what hydrography does is to get the information underneath the water and then present it in the form of charts, okay. which ships use to know the deepest part that can keep their ship safe, okay. when they are moving from one place to the other.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Now, do you think we have enough hydrographers in Nigeria? What are the plans to grow their numbers if we don't have enough?
You can never have enough, but for now we have what is adequate to commence effective survey and charting of Nigerian waters. But there's also a plan for training of upcoming ones so that there will be good succession plan. The Navy has a hydrographic school which will soon become internationally accredited for hydrography. Once that is done, it will be open to everybody, both civilian and military, and even allied nations, to be trained in hydrography. By so doing, they will be able to produce human capacity that will be able to survey and chart Nigerian waters according to international standards.
Okay, now let us know the specific roles of hydrographic services as it relates to climate change.
Fire.
Does it really, can it reduce climate change?
Hydrography cannot reduce climate change, but it will provide the information that policymakers can use to regulate activities within the water and even in the nation, so as to reduce the effect of climate on the country or the world.
Okay, so that's just about it.
It provides information, credible information that policymakers can use to take decisions and then regulate activities within the maritime environment so as not to exacerbate the effect of climate on a particular nation.
Okay, how can Nigeria enhance its hydrographic services, and what are the gains derivable?
Cooperation is one of the major ways Nigeria can enhance its hydrographic services. I just mentioned that there are other agencies that conduct hydrographic surveys in various parts of Nigerian waters. If those data are harnessed and collected together in the Nigerian Navy Hydrographic Office, it will be used to produce charts faster than expected. And the benefit of that is that the products of hydrography can also be sold to generate revenue for the nation. For instance, the nautical charts, ships buy nautical charts, and they buy tidal tables that show them the level of water where they are going. And also, there is what is called marine geospatial data infrastructure that provides information that government can use to decide how to regulate the activities in the waters to be able to conserve the ocean and also the resources thereby. All of these are data that hydrography provides.
All right, now, do you think the survey, that's the Nigerian waters, are well surveyed to complement security and safety, putting into consideration the low ebb in practice?
Nigerian water is not well surveyed for that purpose. The record available shows that the Nigerian water that is of less than 200 meters depth are surveyed. Only 25% of that is surveyed. Out of that is surveyed, about 2% is charted locally, what I mean indigenous capacity of charting. Then 65% is not well surveyed, and 10% not surveyed at all. And if you go offshore, about 80% of Nigerian waters are not surveyed at all, and just 10% is surveyed. And so, with these statistics, we can rightly say that our water is not well surveyed. And that is the reason the government has paid serious attention now by acquiring the 60-meter survey vessel for the Navy to be able to assess the offshore areas of Nigerian water. So that vessel will be able to capture data within the offshore areas, and that will be used to produce charts. The inland waters of Nigeria are not surveyed and charted at all as of now. And you will agree with me that the security challenges we are having originate from the sea. Most of them originate from the sea, and especially within the inland waters. The Navy and other maritime security agencies that are charged with maritime security most times have difficulty assessing some of our inland waters because they are not charted. Sometimes their boats go aground, Sometimes they hit objects when they are going because there is no chart that guides them to safety.
All right.
So as it stands now, hydrography is not effectively supporting maritime security in Nigeria.
Okay, now what do we do to improve, on this?
Survey, and survey.
Oh, yeah, you talked about an institution of hydrography. Now, is it just for the armed forces or for members of the public they can attend?
No.
We can get more hydrographers.
I said that for now it's still the armed forces because it's not yet internationally accredited.
Okay.
Once that is done, the process has commenced. Once the accreditation is secured from the International Hydrographic Organization, it will be open to civilians, and that will produce more human capacity for hydrographic survey and charting in Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Rear Admiral Chukwuemeka Okafor, for throwing more light on hydrography in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on Panorama.
You're welcome.
This is still Panorama, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center of the NTA. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly